Hey, welcome back. I am currently got my iPad out. I'm making my bets because I'm telling you, I'm giving you locks. The Indiana game lock, and of course, the Butler Michigan State game is a lock. You know her, you love her. She is the gutsiest woman alive because she did something that cost her money and she stuck with it. It is, ladies and gentlemen, Allison Williams. A round of applause. There you go.
Snaps.
Hey, A-Dubs, I went on a bit of a rant early today about like when are we going to start representing real people? And when did everybody become freaking COVID geniuses? All of a sudden, everybody knows everything about COVID. They got their degree in Google technology or something, these people, A-Dubs.
Well, I'm probably one of them. I'm probably one of them, according to the masses.
You made an informed decision based on you, so leave you alone.
Right? Yeah.
When are politicians going to start representing us? I'm thinking of running for mayor of Indy. True story.
Dude, I am all in on that. Amen. I think I've seen it a lot here in California too. And look, the biggest thing, Dan, is like at the local level, right? I mean, the Board of Supervisors meetings in San Diego, where I live, have been insane, and they've been going on for hours. I mean, people are lined up for blocks to speak, and this Nathan Fletcher guy basically doesn't care. It's craziness. I think it starts at the local level, but I think there's potential for a shift. I mean, if people like you are running, hell yeah, like let's get that wave going. We saw what happened in New Jersey with the state Senate rights, right? Like the Ed Durr, he's a truck driver. I think he spent $117 on his campaign, the majority of which was at Dunkin' Donuts or something, and he won. So if that can happen in New Jersey, maybe we'll see a shift across the country. People are fed up with politicians, especially I think the ones trying to control their lives and make decisions for them that they don't feel are in their best interest. So I think it's time for a change. I certainly hope it is. We'll see. But I mean, if you run, like, can I be your campaign manager? Do I have to move to Indy to do that? Like, how does this work?
It works. You're like the special guest that we bring up. Ladies and gentlemen, the woman who stood up to the monolith corporation, Allison Williams. She's one of us. You know what I mean? That's what we do. Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, that would be wildly entertaining.
That's the way we. All right, I don't want to make it political when A-Dubs comes on because no one's smarter in terms of sports. You follow this. You covered this for years. It's a passion of yours. College football, the rankings. What do you see when you looked last night at what was released? What's on your radar?
I'm so frustrated with them. First of all, I've done the mock seminar in Dallas or outside Dallas, where you go and you have the teams and you have the numbers and you pretend you're a member of the committee and you have to make selections. And I understand it's tough, right? Like, I mean, those are some really tough decisions that are being made, but honestly, I just have an issue with Cincinnati not in the top 4. You win your games, it's got to count for something. You've got 3 one-loss teams in front of them. Alabama, I understand, but I think there's an argument to be made for them to be in there over Ohio State. Now, like, I understand Oregon's loss is worse to Stanford, and they have probably a better win than Cincinnati. So again, I get it, but I just think at the end of the day, Cincinnati has a top 10 win on the road, beating Notre Dame. They're undefeated. I think the eye test they pass. So I'm a little annoyed that they're not in the top 4. And I think it just speaks to kind of the name biases in that room, honestly.
They don't have a chance to play their way in, really. I mean, they have to rely on others to lose, which could happen in the Big Ten as Michigan State and Ohio State play this week.
This weekend.
You know, but SMU, I guess we're supposed to say, is pretty good. East Carolina is who they have next. I don't know that they have an opportunity to play their way in. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And like maybe I think Houston in the conference championship game. So I think they have to win out. They have to win out big. I think it's going to come down to style points ultimately. And they're going to need a little bit of help.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
When you went to, the mock deal, I went to it for basketball. When you went to the mock, committee, did they talk about style points? Did they talk about the need for that?
Not directly, but what it translates to is margin of victory. It also would boost where they stand, where their offensive ranks are, where their defensive ranks are. So it's insane how stat driven that is. And I think it's done to, prevent some of the biases and give like actual tangible data, things you can quantify, and eliminate the need for the eye test to a certain extent. But it factors into some of the data they analyze. Absolutely. So I think they have to win big. And obviously they're going to need help, but I have a feeling like the Big Ten is going to screw itself up. I just get that sense. Like, I don't even know if it's going to be Michigan State, Ohio State this weekend, or if it's going to be, Michigan, Ohio State in a few weeks. I just feel like something wacky is going to happen in the Big Ten, because we've seen it all season with like the Purdue upsets. I don't know. And I'm not totally sold on any team in the Big Ten. Honestly, I mean, are you? Like, Ohio State obviously is the best right now, but I feel like they have a lot of flaws. So I feel like the Big Ten could help them out. And the Pac-12, I feel like, always does, right? I mean, who knows what will happen with Utah and Oregon this weekend, and how the rest of the conference or the season will play out for that conference. So I think there's an opportunity for Cincinnati to get the help they need. They obviously have to take care of business, but if they don't get in, it's just proof that the system is absolutely rigged against non-Power 5 teams.
You asked me, I saw Michigan State in person. I was not impressed at all. Like, I did not.
Michigan, I'm not impressed with.
Not really. I mean, I think they're okay. I think they're good.
Yeah.
Like I said this, Allison, and this goes a little bit against what you're saying, but I went to an Alabama game and they played Tennessee.
Okay.
I went to Cincinnati, Indiana, and I saw Michigan State, Indiana, and actually the game that I saw, I'd put Tennessee ahead of Michigan State or Cincinnati with just the eye test. One game. I thought wow. Tennessee was uber talent. They were right in the game. They fell apart, made one mistake. Next thing you know, but I don't think these Big Ten teams are great. I also think this is going to open up naturally. Like, I think Oregon may have a real problem at Utah, because I think Utah's. I do too. Good.
I do.
Do
too.
You?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're always well coached. They're not going to beat themselves. I think Oregon, completely healthy, I would feel differently about, but I mean, that's the name of the game this time of the year, right? Especially. I'm just like, the Big Ten, to me, I can't get a good gauge on. Michigan, they've got the record, like 9-1, but I don't get excited about them. Like, there's something missing in the offense that I just can't get behind. I think they just all have their flaws. And of course, like, obviously every team does. I mean, I still kind of can't get past Georgia and what they're doing with their quarterback situation, right? I mean, Stetson Bennett is the quarterback of the number one team in the country. It's insane. And obviously they have a tremendously fabulous defense that helps and so forth. But it's so crazy. Like, the number one team in the country you think would have this stud quarterback, this like 5-star guy, whatever. And you've got, Stetson Bennett and JT Daniels on the bench. So this year is just kind of wacky, I feel like. And probably in the end, it'll like play out like it always does when we're talking about Alabama.
Well, we are, and we in football we talk about Alabama. In the Big Ten, we talk about, if we're not talking about the teams, we talk about Jim Harbaugh. People don't. Jim Harbaugh, and I'm going to ask you. You covered him. Your thoughts on Harbaugh, covering Harbaugh, but the dude is 9-1.
I know.
Right?
I know. I mean, but this is what he does, Dan. Like, he wins 10 games and then he doesn't win the ones they want to win. And that's Michigan State, Ohio State, and the bowl game. It's a problem, but I get it. Like, who are you going to replace him with? That's the thing, right?
Right.
So I'm not calling for his head, but I do think there is a standard at Michigan and there is an expectation for which they hired him that he hasn't completely lived up to. But again, he wins 10 games every year and he goes to a major bowl game. He's got to find a way to beat Ohio State. Like, end the discussion, has to find a way to beat Ohio State.
Do you think that college football is becoming, or in danger of becoming, like college basketball? Let's be honest. The general fan, the macro version of fans out there is okay with the regular season in college basketball, but what do they watch? March Madness, right?
Right.
Do you think that college football, and for a guy like Harbaugh can win 10, 11 games, but if he doesn't make the college football playoff at some point, I don't give a damn what you won, right? You can beat Ohio State, but you got to, at some point, coaches are going to be like basketball coach. You got to make the Final Four. You got to make the playoff.
Right. I hear you. I think the thing that makes college football different is the Saturday dynamic. So where you can have a regular season of college basketball that plays out every night of the week, there is something like ritualistic about Saturdays in the fall in college football. So just for that reason alone, and I know you have Thursday night games and, MACtion midweek and Friday night games, whatever, but there is something that is ingrained with our culture when it comes to Saturdays. And in the fall and watching college football. So I think because of that and other factors too, but largely because of that and the way people shape their calendars around it, their family events around it, the regular season in college football will always have meaning and merit. There, for maybe the casual fan, if we expand to 12, that could turn into like more of a March Madness situation where they aren't really paying attention until the playoffs. But I don't think it will ever get to the way basketball is in that sense, just because of, again, the way the regular season is and the tradition around Saturdays in the fall with college football.
Do you think it is for coaches?
Is what? Oh, like
Meaning
the standard of, yeah, I think over time it does. Their fan bases have expectations, and when they aren't met, we're seeing it across the country. I mean, how many freaking Power 5 jobs are open right now? Head coaching
right
jobs.
now.
There's an insane amount.
Which one's
Virginia
which
Tech,
one do you?
Justin Fuente? Which one?
Which one's the best?
USC. Honestly, I mean, the market. I know LSU would be up there too, but probably one of those two. I think USC they're starting lower and have higher that they could go. LSU just won a national championship a few years ago, so you don't have the kind of like the lower short-term expectations that you would have at USC. Not that they're ever that low at USC, but I just think the brand recognition, the potential to win in the Pac-12 versus the SEC, right now, probably USC is a better job. As far as like a bigger job, maybe LSU, just again, for those same reasons I just mentioned, but I think USC is probably the better job. But it's just, I mean, look at the Pac-12, Washington State. There's a lot of openings. And I don't know do you get the sense there's enough candidates to fill them that are truly qualified? There aren't these like sexy coordinator names like there usually are. It's going to be interesting, the coaching carousel this year.
I would argue that if I were a guy being wooed by schools, my view would be, how is my path to the college football playoff? Is with Oklahoma and Texas coming into LSU, man, that's tough if they keep it at 4, which I don't think they will.
No.
The path a little bit easier at USC. So I would have a tendency to say I'm going to USC because I can get in the college football playoff easier. Does that make sense? Or no?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I was saying with playing in the Pac-12. You're more likely, I think, to be able to win your conference in the Pac-12 and pretty much guarantee yourself a playoff spot. But there's the recruiting dynamic of being able to get guys because they want to play in the SEC. But you do have to face Nick Saban a little more regularly, and who wants that as a first-time head coach?
Doesn't he? Doesn't he got to quit it? I mean, he's 100 years old.
People don't even realize his age, though. That's what's so interesting. I don't know if it's like the hair color. Like people don't realize him and Mac Brown are basically the same age. Everybody thinks Mac is so much older, and he's not. Our boy Saban, though, man, and why would you? Like what else is he going to do? That's what I always look at with coaches. I think that's why I wasn't totally shocked that Roy Williams left before Coach K. I mean, not a huge difference. It's a year, but Roy golfs and he's like super into his grandkids and he has kind of hobbies outside of basketball. I mean, Saban, like that's their lives. But what does Saban do? He goes to the boathouse for a little bit in the summer. I mean, he lives, eats, sleeps, breathes football and competition. And I'm sure he's, out on the course now and then, but I just don't think he has much of a life outside of the game. So I think it makes it really hard to walk away when you don't have a whole lot that you're into outside of your sport.
You worked with Mac Brown. He got a hell of a setup, right? Beautiful place. Why'd he come back? Like, is that the same thing you're talking about?
It's the itch, right? I think it was the way things ended at Texas. He wasn't ready to be done. He was kind of shown the door. And I think he had something to prove. It needed to be the right fit for him. Obviously, in North Carolina certainly was. Sally, his wife, had to prove she did. So there were definitely certain things he was looking for in a team, but I don't think his heart ever left. I think in the back of his mind, he always knew he would go back.
Yeah, if I didn't get in broadcasting and enjoy it, I know I would have gone back, and I didn't want to. I
think every coach's goal, though, honestly, Dan, sorry to interrupt you, should be to get that big contract and get fired, because like you are set for life. and you are making millions of dollars and get to do whatever you want. So like win, do your thing, and if you get fired, whatever. Like you're going to make 17 million just to do nothing. Like, that's insane. It's the best gig out there.
Allison,
don't get fired like me and make no money.
Me
That's
too.
Not the way to go. We didn't do that very well.
Allison, I said for years, I don't want to hear about the pressure of the Indiana or the Alabama or the LSU coach. The freaking pressure is being a MAC coach, because you get fired, you haven't made life-changing money.
No, you're not taking that money bag out the door with you. You just packing your stuff and leaving. Yeah. And you're not getting another shot. Mm-hmm.
They felt like they were doing me a favor. Let me keep my my company car for a month. It's like,
hey, keep the gas card for a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't get the $9 million over 3 years.
It's insane.
They pressure my ass on those guys with 5 years on their deal, man. That's crap. All right, we're gonna go some hot takes. You ready?
Right.
I want your opinion on a variety of things. There's 5 of them.
Okay.
All right. I don't know which Stephanie and Lauren, put up the first one so I know if we're going from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1. Oh, no, I do. The NBA does not miss Kyrie Irving.
False. Brooklyn
They do.
misses them. Yeah.
What do they miss about him?
Well, they're not playing very well without him. I think it's easy to be like, well, they don't miss him because he's a little bit of a headache and a crazy person, but you miss your stars. When your stars aren't on the court, you miss them. Whatever off the court and bizarreness they bring, I think he's still missed. And he's on my side with the vaccine stuff. So I'm going, we miss him.
I'm not. I was watching last night and I'd forgotten that Kyrie Irving was not playing. And I'm like, I don't know if they miss. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with it, but I'll take your word for it.
Probably not the smartest, but
Steph Curry is the most fun player to watch in the NBA.
I'm trying to think of somebody more fun off the top of my head. I think start to finish, he is. You get there for the warm-ups. Like he's the guy you go early to see. That says something, right? Like you don't want to miss the warm-ups when Steph Curry's playing. So
I don't understand.
Sure.
I saw that the other day on TV. What was that about? What, people watch him warm up? Is that the deal?
Yeah, because it's like his crazy shots and he's doing all sorts of goofy things and he like interacts with fans. And I like him because he's always got a smile on his face with his mouthpiece hanging out. Like he's got some charisma. And obviously, I mean, like the kid just hits buckets. So sure, why not?
I think he's the most fun guy. And I did what you did. I'm like, the Greek freak. All right, yeah, he's fun.
But fun, talented, maybe, exciting, but fun. Yeah, I think I'd go Steph. I think
because he's not 7'9", or he's not a physical freak like LeBron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we love that, right? We love guys we can relate to in some capacity. Right. Like you could have a conversation with them and not need a ladder to be at his height. And like, yeah, you look at guys like LeBron or Giannis, and you think there's no way in hell I could ever do anything remotely close to them because of the physical difference. So I think that's a good point. There's like a relatability to Steph.
Yeah, he gives you hope.
Yeah, exactly. We could all use more of that these days.
Yeah, we all need hope. Down with dope, up with hope. Ohio State will beat Michigan State by 2 touchdowns or more.
Yeah, what's the spread on that? 19?
It's a lot, yes.
I was surprised it was that much.
I was too. I was very surprised.
No, I think it'll be closer.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it'll be closer. I think it'll be like a 10. I think Ohio State will win, but I think it'll be closer to like 10, 7-10. I don't think they're going to blow them out.
Yeah, I think at Ohio State's going to end up getting bad at the end, but I think it's going to be, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be a decent game. But, it is interesting. That spread is like 19.5. And I saw that. I'm like, man.
Take that, right?
Michigan State is behind Michigan in the college football playoffs, so they can play the disrespect card, right? I mean,
I think so. I think you can. I mean, I don't even know if it's a disrespect card. I think it's the record they've had against them in recent years. Yeah. I think it's been like 7 straight they've lost or something like that to them. So I think there's that component. I think there's they've been at the top of the mountain. If this is where you want to be, this is who you have to beat. You're going into the shoe. There's a lot of familiarity with those guys. I think there's a lot of things Mel Tucker can play into with this. And the big one is if you are the team that we think we are, go out to the nation and prove it against the number 3 team in the country.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be closer than that spread, and people anticipate. It definitely could get away from them late, but I think it'll be a closer game throughout for sure.
I do too. Urban Meyer will be a huge success in the NFL.
That's your boy.
That's my boy.
No. I'm down on him.
What do you do?
It's not so much what he does. It's this. Okay, I guess it is what he does. I don't like, Dan, that he does these things and he leaves these teams and then he comes back and says, oh, this is for my health or this is for my family. And then his actions say otherwise. I think there is something about the lack of control over every aspect that he will have in the NFL as opposed to college that will make it difficult for him to have success. I don't know. I don't like the fit with him in the NFL. I don't know if it works with grown men, kind of the way he manages his players, or at least from like what I saw in that, like kind of the authoritarian a little bit style. I don't know how well that works in the NFL. I mean, we'll see. Like, what the hell do I really know? I think he's a great developer of young men and instilling certain core beliefs and values. But I just feel like when you have grown men in the NFL, it takes a little different approach. Obviously, it's his first year. We'll see. I didn't like how that whole shit played down when he was back in Ohio and all that. I feel like it's going to be the stress of the job and he's got to step away for his own health at some point again.
I'm going to disagree with you here. I've talked to him a number of times. He is my boy. I love him, but I do think that he studied the NFL for literally 2 years, almost daily, like unbelievable. And I think that the authoritative thing, I think, went away once he got serious about the NFL. And I think the idea, and he was tough, like he's tough on coaches, he's tough on everybody. But I think that all went away. And I think he studied it enough and understands it enough. And actually, it's kind of interesting. He's invested. Like, one of the things that I've had people tell me there is, it's almost the opposite. Like, he's so invested in these players. He's so invested in helping them. And, he's certainly on the wrong side of the media now. And he would admit some of it is his fault. But I think he's going to be successful. But I was going to ask you this. I watched Trevor Lawrence here this weekend. I don't know. I don't see the ball come out of his hand like an Elway or I don't know about him as I think he's good. He's going to be good, but I don't know about him as a superstar, A-Dubs.
Right. Well, the other thing with Urban too, just before we talk about Trevor, to go back to that point, it's just so rare that it happens that guys can transition well from college to the NFL. So I just feel like the odds in general aren't in his favor of guys that are able to make that transition smoothly. I mean, Nick Saban, greatest student of all time. It was terrible in Miami. So, and there's a number of those examples. Yeah. So I think there is something that is just difficult for guys that have spent their entire careers in college to then take these head jobs in the NFL. Trevor, I haven't watched a ton of him, honestly, in Jacksonville. The little bit that I've seen, something's off, right? Because, like, here's the thing with Trevor. He was one of those few guys that I covered in college that the ball just looked different coming out of his hands. Lamar Jackson was the other one that I remember watching at Louisville, and it was like, whoa, like that is not like the rest. And Trevor's the same way. I have a hard time gauging that stuff on television, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So it's hard for me to 100% agree with you on that. Obviously something's off with him. And I don't have a clue as to what it is, because I'm not there. I'm not around him. I don't know. I just see kind of what you're seeing as well. And it doesn't look like he's got that spin and that confidence and that zip that he did at Clemson. And I'm sure it has a lot to do with the complexity of the defenses he's facing. Like, maybe he just doesn't have that confidence in those throws that he did at Clemson. I'm not sure how much he was really asked to do and see and read there. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of that, just the transition with the mental side that you have to go through when you get to this level. I still think he'll be fine long term. I think that because the talent's all there, right? So there's just going
I
to be a
do
learning
too.
curve. I just
Yeah,
think
I think
it's rookie year. It's a huge transition, especially for a quarterback.
yeah, and I'm not going to sit there and say, hey, look, this is, it's over. Not by
Yeah.
any means. But all right, last thing, college basketball misses Vitale, Dockich, and Allison.
Duh. 100%. I have to say that, okay, can I ask you how has it been for you watching these games? Are you like, do you feel a little bitter? Are you like, whatever, I don't care?
No, I'm good. I
Okay.
haven't watched. I'm not gonna lie to you. I turned it on and I kind of find it boring. I did not. I was out in Chicago and I didn't see the Villanova UCLA game. But I just I got enough to do with this, and I really haven't. How about you?
Yeah. So first of all, and I should say that obviously our thoughts and prayers are with Dickie B, and I know if anybody can kick cancer's ass, it's him. And I think of him often, and Lorraine and their whole family and what they're going through. Obviously, different reasons for him not being out there right now than us. I find a couple things when I've been watching games lately. I still have a little bit of like a sour taste in my mouth. Be there,
Yeah.
But I have found actually, I feel like the quality of basketball is better right now than it was last year this time for obvious reasons. So I've enjoyed that. I love seeing how many guys are back. I think that's been kind of fun. Like it's these established stars and names that that have all come back. And I think that's been fun to see again. It's been fun to see packed arenas. I just missed that so much last year. So I'm into it. I think the games have actually been really good. Like I thought the Michigan game last night was phenomenal with Seton Hall. So I feel like there's been some fun upsets. I feel like the quality of play is better right now to start the year. So yeah, I'm into it, but I don't know. I don't get full like basketball mode till January. Like I watch games here and there right now, but I'm not like locked in. Oh my God, I got to watch every game.
Yeah. See, when we were doing it and we go to, maybe the Bahamas or wherever you do a game, you're really locked in. And
so you did all those tournaments and I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was always really locked in, but I will be, and there's no question. But to this point, it's been like, all right, hey, look, I got two people here in Stephanie and Lauren that are on my ass every night to get a show on the air. You know what I mean? It's like,
it is interesting. So I went through that when I left the Florida Panthers and then the Miami Marlins. And obviously I was huge into the NHL and Major League Baseball, right? And I knew I was going to miss them, and I did. But the further, like as the years went on, the less I found myself following the NHL and Major League Baseball on a regular basis. The first year, absolutely, because you still know all the guys, you're like invested and you like have these relationships. But I found myself following it less and less. And it's just a product of what else you're working on. And you only have so many hours in a day. So it is funny when you leave a sport that you love and that you cover for a living, how your fandom changes a little bit when you really can just watch it as a fan. And it's not kind of like your lifeblood like it was prior, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I can't afford a second divorce, so I'm making.
You better not. You can knock this one out of the park. You screw this up, we're all gonna have a little talk with you. Lee's the best.
No, she coming on next.
Yeah, I love it.
Thanks. You coming on every week?
Let's do it. I got nothing else to do. My kid's still sleeping. It's like perfect. I have coffee and peace and chat with you. It's wonderful. Let's do it.
It's a great morning. It's a great way to start your day.
Great morning.
Thanks, Allison.
You got it, Double D. See you, bud.